Welcome in, everyone. We have a very interesting topic to talk about today involving the CIA and the fear that there could be a mass exodus of people who turn into spies for foreign intelligence agencies, go work for other countries. It is a very wild claim. I can't even, quite frankly, believe it's real, but I guess there's serious concern about it. So we're going to discuss all that and much more. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe, comment with your thoughts on the topic below. I want to hear your thoughts on the CIA and whether or not there's secretly a lot of people who might leave the agency and go work for foreign governments, which would obviously be a disaster. So what's the baseline? What starts this whole thing? What's the foundation of this whole thing? The foundation of this is President Trump, Elon Musk, and others are making a serious push in government to cut waste, fraud, and abuse, as they like to say. One of those moves is to force people back to the office to work. If people don't want to come back to the office, they had the opportunity to take a buyout or leave. There's been threats that they might be fired. I want you to let me know in the comments if you think federal employees should be allowed to work from home or if they should be forced to go in and if they should be fired if they don't. I'll be very curious to hear what your opinions on this topic are. One of the big red flags that has come up, according to a report from CNN, and I know a lot of you watching this probably don't like CNN. You might question their reporting, but this is a piece about the CIA and security risks and all that stuff, and they spoke with people there. And one of the threats that was essentially made was that if we have to follow these rules and people leave, that they're going to go work for other countries. And because of that, you can't force them to leave because they'll just go spy for a different foreign country. I'm going to read from you the piece. I'm going to throw it up on the screen right now, and then we're going to read the piece. It says, on the CIA's 7th floor, home of top leadership, some officers are also quietly discussing how mass firings and the buyouts already offered to staff risk creating a group of disgruntled former employees who might be motivated to take what they know to a foreign intelligence service. Taken together, those actions highlight the depth of unease among career officials that Trump's efforts to speedily slim down the U.S. government may be putting American secrets within grasp of foreign spies and hackers. So there you have the CNN reporting that if there are firings at the CIA, if there are people who are laid off or resign, take the buyout, that there's going to be this mass exodus of spies that then go work for other governments. I also was listening to Breaking Points, which is with Sagar and Jetty and Crystal Ball, a little bit of right-left battle show there. And the exact same topic was floated, I believe, by Crystal, with Sagar saying he didn't really think that that was a concern. Now, we have to be fair here. The United States has a history of people being spies. The two most famous ones are Aldrich Ames and Robert Hanssen. Granted, they did not spy for the Soviet Union, both of whom were caught, and I believe both got sentenced to multiple life terms. They did not spy for the Soviet Union because they were laid off from their jobs, right? They spied for the Soviet Union for money, ideological reasons, things of that nature. So we have two very famous examples, and there's been others. You obviously have the nuclear secrets. You had the Rosenbergs, probably the two most famous spies up until Aldrich Ames and Robert Hanssen. The Rosenbergs, of course, there's been some dispute or debate about how much spying they actually did. It's very clearly they were guilty as hell. I don't know how anyone could dispute them. I believe they say Aldrich Ames, though, and Robert Hanssen actually did way more damage to the government, way more damage to covert operations than the Rosenbergs did. So just something to keep in mind. Here's what I'll say about this. If we currently have people employed right now in the U.S. government who are likely to turn into traitors, because that's what they would be, right? If you go work for a foreign spy intelligence, if you sell American secrets, if you just give away American secrets for no money, you're a traitor. And how do we handle traitors in this country? Usually life in prison. The Rosenbergs were the last two to be executed for it. So it's a very serious thing. And if we have people right now in the government and their only motivation to not work for the Russians, not work for the Chinese, not work for the Cubans. Don't forget, Cuba has a huge intelligence apparatus. The rest of their military is terrible. They're a very poor country. But the one thing the Cubans invest heavily on is spying so that they can take that information they learn about America and then sell it to other countries in the world. There's a very famous female spy that was caught spying for the Cubans. I believe she spied for them for like 17 years, did devastating damage. I believe at one time was even the head of the Cuban desk. So the Cubans, the Venezuelans, and then don't think for one second our allies in different regions of the world, whether that be the Middle East, Europe, whatever it might be, don't think for one second that our allies also would not pay money for our secrets. Newsflash, they absolutely would. We all spy on each other. That's the way it works. You have to identify these people. You have to uproot them. You have to take away their access to information now, because if they're willing to spy over the loss of a paycheck, that means that they're willing to spy for anyone that comes along with a bag of money, right? And if you're willing to spy for a bag of money, you're a traitor, and you're going to be dealt with very harshly, and you can't have access to classified information. It's pretty simple. Now, is there a chance that this is all a negotiating tactic, that this is fear-mongering? And that's what I actually believe this is. I don't think anyone at the CIA who gets laid off or takes a buyout, retires early, I don't think we actually have a serious issue of those people are going to run to Moscow and turn into spies against America. I personally do not think that's going to happen. What I do think this is people running to the media and being like, don't do this. You can't fire us. If you fire us, we'll have people that go work for the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, the Cubans. The list goes on and on and on. Is that actually true, though? Probably not. Now, granted, could some do it? Yes, but you got to remember, if you're working in the CIA, if you have a high classification level, you've been vetted at an intense level. The FBI's looked into you. You've gone through lie detector tests many times. You've gone through deep background checks. I had to do one of those once on the other side of it. I had to do essentially be the reference, and I got interviewed by the FBI about someone who was going for a security clearance, and they dug in. I mean, they knew a lot of information before they even called me, and they pretty much knew what my answers were going to be. That's part of what they're doing. They're going to see if you're going to be honest with them or not, and I was totally honest with them. So I don't believe you can pass all of that in large numbers at scale and then have those people just all leave and go be spies for North Korea and Russia. I think that this is an attempt to scare the hell out of the Trump administration using the media as a tool, which the CIA has done forever, using the media as a tool to get your preferred narrative out there, which is if you fire these people, they're all going to go be spies for another country. Thus, you can't do it. You have to keep them. If there are people in the CIA who will be spies for other countries for a paycheck, find them now, kick them out, and arrest them if they've done it before. This is not rocket science. You have to keep America's secrets safe. You have to keep our national security safe. And you can't have people in there that are willing to be traitors. And if you're willing to be a traitor because you got fired, then identify that immediately. But my theory is that this is mostly probably BS. It's a scare tactic. It's not real. I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong. But I want to let you know. Let me know in the comments if you think this is real or not, or if you think that this is all BS that's being spun up to scare people. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.